Hi everyone, it's Trishna. I hope you're doing well. So I just filmed a video for the Facebook group, and in that video, one of the puppies started barking, howling actually, and I had to let him out. Between that video and this video, I have let him and our other dog in. So we'll see how that goes. Just be prepared, I guess. Maybe I'm just telling myself that. All right, so what are we talking about in this video? So today what I want to talk to you about is how to handle triggers, how to use them to your advantage. And this video is kind of coming from a video that I did recently on my YouTube channel where I got a lot of responses from people who felt very triggered by what I had said in my video. And that started to remind me of a time a couple years ago on my channel when there was like two people who also got triggered by my videos. And it made me realize that there's a lot of people who don't really know how to handle their anger. They don't know how to see a trigger and how to not lash out or how to not get angry or how to not act out in some way. And that's because we're not really taught how to handle our anger. Anger is a very healthy emotion, but when we react to it in very negative ways and use it to hurt other people, then it's not so healthy. But a lot of people don't really know how to handle it. So in this video, we're going to talk about triggers and we're going to talk about how I handle my triggers and how if you handle it in the right way, what's going to happen is the things that you want to manifest in your life are going to start to materialize. You're going to start manifesting more of what you want. Because a lot of times people get very angry and they get really stuck in that anger and they start saying that they're more awakened or they're more self aware or they kind of use spirituality as like an ego boost for them or to set them apart from you. And they're still angry though. They're still in that cycle of being stuck and angry. So they want to have better things in their lives, but they don't know how to handle that anger. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We're going to be talking about how to handle your triggers and use your triggers to your advantage to manifest the things that you want in your life super fast. All right, so also I feel like this video ties in really nicely to the last couple videos that I did on my channel around how to stop thinking negative thoughts. Because again, when we start thinking negative thoughts, we can start getting angry. And if we get really caught up in that, for some people, we can start lashing out or acting out. We're trying to hurt others. And again, that's not productive. But those negative thoughts, regardless of how you use that negative feeling in the world, again, if you really work on them and honor them and yeah, just try to heal them, you're going to manifest everything you're looking for. Okay, so a couple years ago, I was doing tarot readings on my channel, and I did them by astrology sign, like by zodiac sign. So I'm not an astrologer, but I did the tarot readings by zodiac sign to make them a little bit more personalized because you can't do a personal reading on YouTube. So that way, at least I'm not reading everybody, I'm reading like a 12th of everybody essentially. And there was one month when I had a really positive reading for one of the signs, I think it was Pisces, and somebody got very upset by that, was really upset that I gave a positive reading. And then I think around that time, or like the same month, I gave a not so positive reading for the Sagittariuses. And somebody got really upset by that as well. In fact, that person wrote me a message. I think in that video I'd said that like your partner, if this is happening, then you and your partner are gonna be together in the long term. But if this is happening, then you and your partner are going to end up breaking up in 3 months and they may not be the right person, blah, blah, blah. So they didn't really want to hear that. And the person who was upset by that, who was triggered by that, wrote me a comment basically saying that, like, well, what I predict for you, Trishna, is I predict that your relationship is going to fail and you're going to be sad and blah, blah, blah. And in the end, I actually ended up getting engaged during the time that she predicted that I would be broken up with and sad and brokenhearted and alone. So that's kind of interesting. But essentially, both of them went to a YouTube channel to get a free reading that is not specific to them, that is like a 12th of the population. And they didn't like what it said. And instead of just clicking off and finding a video that they did like to go watch, they wrote me angry comments because they were triggered. So, and I find that a very interesting reaction because that's not what I do when I'm triggered. So here's what I do when I get triggered, and here's what I think you should do too. So, about, no, would it be like 2.5 to 3 years ago? I was watching a lot of astrology love videos myself. That's actually, yeah, I was watching a bunch of those too. And sometimes I watch a video and it wouldn't really resonate with me. or it would trigger me. Like it would give me a sense of fear, like, oh no, I don't want that to happen, or oh no, all that resonated. Is this going to happen now? And I don't want that to happen, and blah, blah. So it would trigger me. But I never wrote in the comments anything. What I did instead was I paid attention. Because number one, when I am listening to a reading, the reader can only share what they see. That's it. And two, it's a general reading, and three, it's free. So like, what do you have to get upset about? So like that kind of thing, just doesn't, I don't really get it. But anyways, what I would do is I would be like, okay, I heard this reading and it triggered me. I feel fear, or I feel frustration, or I feel angry, or I feel worried. Number one, I manifested that into my life. I manifested that reading because I don't watch all of them. I just watch every once in a while when it pop up. So number one, I manifested that. So what does that have to tell me? My thoughts must be worried already. That's why I'm getting a reading that tells me that I'm a reading that brings up more worried feelings. Number two, okay, what exactly is worrying me? Now I know what's going to happen. What about that scares me? Or what about that makes me angry? And I take note of that. And then I would work on my blocks. And if you want to know how I work on my blocks, you can check out my Law of Attraction playlist. I have 3 videos, part 1, 2, and 3. I think they're videos like 4, 5, and 6 in the series. You'll see them near the top of the playlist. And I go into complete detail. I took 3 videos to tell you how to do one process. I go into complete detail on how I work through my blocks and how it's allowed me to manifest a lot of like really big things in my life. So anyways, I basically worked on my blocks around those. I didn't get mad. I saw it as an opportunity for me to grow and develop and work on my own mindset. And after, I don't know how long it took me. I think it took me a few months. After a few months of doing that, and sometimes I would even go watch a video to see if it would trigger me because I wanted to be triggered so I'd know what else I needed to work on. I just kept repeating that process, and I think it only took a few months. I don't actually remember the timeline. Maybe it was a little bit longer, but I ended up meeting the love of my life, and it's been amazing. It's wonderful. So working on your blocks, there's so many different approaches you can take to your anger. You can lash out, you can hurt somebody, or you can look at yourself, you can reflect on yourself and ask yourself, why does this trigger me? And why did I attract this into my life? And how do I shift my mindset? How do I shift my emotions? How do I shift my beliefs around this so that I can manifest other things that support me, both in terms of what I hear, what I see, and what I experience? So essentially, what you have to do in order to kind of shift yourself from being somebody who lashes out to somebody who instead sees a trigger as an advantage, as an opportunity, as a way to see, where do I need to grow? Where do I need to develop? And then you develop yourself, and then you attract the love of your life like I did. So, in order to make that shift, you have to understand that you need to let go of control. You don't control what happens to you, you create what happens to you, but the how it happens is not up to you. So, let go of control. Try to enjoy the ride. Always see everything as an opportunity for you to grow and as something that is on your path to your desire. If you keep those mindsets in mind, you're going to be able to stay more positive whenever there are triggers, and you're going to be able to use those triggers as opportunities, as sources of advantage for yourself. Use a negative as an advantage. And I did this, so I told you about the love, right? Met the love of my life, and it's amazing. And I will say, like, it's not like everything's perfect. I'm still constantly working on my blocks in my relationship. And another video on my law of attraction playlist, I'm not sure where it is, but I think it was like a video that I titled growth list, or that's like in the thumbnail. Like in there, I talk about how I have a whole list of things that I want to work on, that I use, that I try to heal on. And I'm always doing that. I'm always working on myself. I'm always growing. I'm always healing myself. I'm always working on my triggers, etc. And I honestly, I really like it because it really will give you what you're looking for. And I mentioned this in a few of my videos. I'm not sure what they're titled, but essentially, whenever you have something negative, something that triggers you, it puts you on one end of a spectrum. When you heal that, when you let go of the charge, the emotions around that, that negativity disappears. And everything has two ends to it, the negative and the positive. We live in duality, we live in a world of polarity. So once you remove the charge for the negative, the only thing that can happen for you, the only thing that can manifest is a positive version of that. And so you go from negative, whoop, all the way to the positive so fast. So if you work on these blocks, if you work on your triggers, if you see triggers as opportunities and almost sometimes even seek them out the way that I did, it's gonna be a game changer for you. It's gonna change your world. So you have to remember that the key to happiness is in you. You have to understand that your power is in you. There is not something out there that you have to fight against. A lot of spiritual people like to talk about this whole spiritual war and being a spiritual warrior and this battle between light and dark forces in the world. But they have it mistaken. This spiritual battle isn't out there, it's in here. The light and the dark isn't out there, it's in here. It's not that you are light and these forces out there are dark. You are both light and dark. And so when you have shadows, that is the spiritual war that you're dealing with. Are you honoring your shadows? Are you healing your shadows? Are you facing yourself? A lot of people get caught up in this spiritual mentality of, I don't have to face myself, I'm perfect, and I'm awakened, and I know what's up, when they're really still focusing on the external and not doing any of the internal spiritual work. And kind of on that note, and I was thinking about making a separate video on this, and I will probably. On that note, a lot of people in the spiritual community feel like they're awakened, feel like they know more than other people because they believe in conspiracies. But ultimately, what are you doing when you start buying into a conspiracy? Because if you're awakened, you're getting downloads yourself. But most people who are involved in the spiritual community, or sorry, in the conspiracy side of things, they are believing in a conspiracy like belief or like in a conspiracy leader like Q. And they're essentially shifting their mindset from believing one authority to believing another instead of learning to listen to themselves. So they're doing the exact same thing, they're just focusing it down an even darker path. So, yeah, it's not about what's out there, it's about what's in here. So, and that's the thing, it's like whenever you're angry and then you externalize it or like lash out or try to hurt other people, you're not actually helping yourself. You're actually giving your power over to somebody else. And the reason why is a lot of people will say, like, whenever you lash out of anger, some people, okay, there's like two kinds of people. Some will not feel good about it. They'll still feel just angry. And it does nothing for them, lashing out and acting out. They just do it out of reaction. Other people feel better. They feel like they got their revenge. They feel like they got the last word. They feel like they one-upped somebody else. So they might feel better in the moment. But because they haven't worked on their anger, because they haven't developed themselves, because they haven't seen the opportunity of the trigger, they might feel better in that moment, but then they're off to the next thing that makes them angry. The next thing triggers them like crazy, and they never get out of the cycle of being constantly triggered by the exact same things. You're always going to be triggered as you grow because triggers are just like a natural part. It's the shadows, it's always going to be there. But the question is, are you triggered by the exact same things and stuck in a loop? Or are you growing and are you living, like expanding your life through your manifestations and getting new things that then allow you to grow and manifest even more? Or are you just sitting in the same bubble, manifesting the exact same reality over and over and over and never really getting what you want? So that is what I have to share with you on that. Use triggers as your advantage and enjoy them. I love them. I love them. I really enjoy them. Like once you really get the hang of it, it's really fun actually because you feel so much better and then you manifest everything that you want. Like what's not to love about it? So the next time you're triggered, just just write it down and figure out or and ask yourself why did you manifest it and what about it triggers you? And then heal that and just watch your life transform. All right, so that's all I have to share about that. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button. If you have any questions, leave me questions in the comments. If you have comments, just share them in the comments. If you have triggers, fine, share them in the comments too. It's all good. But yeah, I will leave you here with that, and I will see you in my next video.